This month, our series of special assignment reports continues tonight with a look at why men commit almost all of the acts of mass violence.
Yeah, research shows men have committed just about every large-scale shooting or other occurrence with mass casualties. Bob Waters is live in the studio with more. Bob.
Well, it's a subject that's really not easily answered. Why are men almost always behind those heinous acts? Is it genetics, their home environment, or is it a cultural divide? 2007, the campus of Virginia Tech. A gunman goes into classrooms, shooting and killing students and professors. In all, 33 people died. July 2012, Aurora, Colorado. A man bursts into a movie theater and opens fire. 12 people die, 70 are injured. December 2012, Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut. A gunman kills 20 young students and 6 teachers before turning the gun on himself. In these cases and other acts of mass violence, men cause the violence.
While we can talk about mental health and access to guns and anger management, we also need to kind of take a real 360 look at male culture and what are we teaching our young boys about what it means to be a healthy man or to be an unhealthy, potentially violent man.
Alan Heisterkamp works to prevent violence through his work with college and high school students through the University of Northern Iowa's Center for Violence Prevention. He says culture discourages boys from expressing their emotions, and that can lead to violence.
Think about the messages that we send them, don't show emotions and don't cry. And so what are they supposed to do with that? I think it gets to a point where it does build up, and it'll be something small that could happen, and it'll be a trigger. It'll be, a moment where he lashes out, and you think, where did that come from?
We sat down with 2 groups of Cedar Falls High School students, separated by gender, to find out what they think and how they handle daily pressures. Both groups say staying focused on goals, being involved in sports or music or other activities, and not being afraid to change your group of friends helps. But they agree, boys and girls experience and handle conflict differently.
We release a lot of what we're holding in, so we're telling people how we feel. We cry, we laugh, we do just about everything in the shortest amount of time. And then if you look at a guy, you don't typically see guys sitting in their room crying. You don't see a lot of guys getting into big arguments with their friends. It just doesn't happen.
Girls are more dramatic about it and get on Twitter and tweet about it and start more drama and add on to it and keep building the drama of it, and guys just kind of eventually, no matter what it is, will forget about it. You just get over it.
I don't know, it's hard to deal with it because you can't stop it. Yeah. Unless you don't have a Twitter, which is an easy solution, but it's just like not having a Facebook or Instagram or any social media. It's hard to stay away from, even if it's not bad.
Guys are a lot more likely to be stoic and just kind of suppress their emotions, just kind of forget about it, put it in the past, but it's still kind of there. So I think that's kind of what might lead to more outbursts from guys, but it's not, there's not as much catty stuff.
Back at UNI, Heisterkamp says the outbursts can be fueled by societal pressures.
Many times it kind of pushes some of those kids that are on the edge anyway, and thinking about how can they demonstrate their power and influence and force. And if I can't do it in socially acceptable ways, then I'll do it in ways that I know work because I've seen it modeled before.
So what will stop more violence? Heisterkamp says it's something that society has to address as a whole and may take some time.
We acknowledge that women can act violently and can be aggressive, but the facts remain that we have much more work to do with regards to addressing men's violence and being able to think educationally about what we can do on the front end with boys growing up.
Now, to that end, UNI is a regional training center for 2 programs which confront bullying and violence. MVP, or Mentors in Violence Prevention, uses peer mentors in the schools to confront bullying and violence. Now, the program, called Coaching Boys into Men, calls on athletics coaches and other male authority figures to teach respect for women, avoid violence, and develop healthy definitions of masculinity. Ron and Amanda, back to you.
Wow.
Okay, Bob, thanks very much. Appreciate that. A good report.
Yeah, it was a great report. Real good insight there. Next week, Michael Crow takes a look at the mental health care redesign here in Iowa and how that shift to regional care is affecting families.
Well, coming up here.